Hey, what's up, guys? Rampedi here. You know what time it is. I know what time it is. Let's go.
That's how it goes?
They keep asking about the best when they know it's me.
Okay.
Asking about the rest when they know it's me.
Straight in, I guess.
You know it's me.
So the rumor mill is flying high, guys. Flying real high because the fixtures are not out as yet. And everybody's wondering why they're not out as yet, the PSL fixtures. And rumor has it that Betway and the PSL could be in bed together. So I had to get a senior sports reporter at SABC and ask him in terms of, do you think it's a good idea for Betway to be sponsoring the PSL? Another big guest on Playing the Field with Shakes. He is a sports reporter. He is a commentator. He's an analyst. Well, with the SABC, I might be corrected. Khanyiso Tshwaku, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yes, you're correct. I'm a senior sports reporter with News 24 Sport, and I do analysis / commentary for the SABC.
Oh, that's amazing. Tell me something. Is this period the best time? Because some people are taking breaks. Some people are just like, is it the best time for you because you cover a variety of sports?
Well, I've scaled back on soccer a bit. That has a lot to do with the company employing the excellent Njabulo Ngiti. And that has changed our football writing magnificently. There's levels to writing. You look at someone like Njabs, you look at his story gathering, you look at his writing, you're like, you get thoroughbreds. He's a different thoroughbred of a writer. Is that good?
Yeah, no. I mean, you are definitely right about that. But there's something that you mentioned. You said you don't cover football as much anymore. Is it purely because of Njabulo's writing, or was that a decision that you also made?
Look, at the end of the day, I've always been a stronger rugby and cricket person. It's just that because of the love of sport, I've always been able to cover football as best as I could. But in Njabulo and football, there's levels to that thing. There's levels. I worked with Njabulo at Sunday Times, and he was very good then. Njabulo was good at the Citizen. He was good at Independent. So, I mean, the one thing that he's just he's magnificent. I still keep as any sports would. I still keep my ear close to football. I mean, it is the most popular sport in the country. People love the sport. It generates a whole lot of interest. I mean, with transfers, with coaching movements, jersey unveilings. So the thing is, you may cover other sports in South Africa, but you cannot ignore football. It's there. It's in your face. Yeah, well, it's like taxis flying out of the rank. You cannot ignore a taxi leaving a rank. But whatever happens, football is always in front of us.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Now, the one thing, you cover rugby a lot more and you cover cricket a lot more, but I want to focus on the rugby point of view. I look at Springboks every time they play. I look at even whenever the Bulls are playing as well. The stadiums are always full, bruh. They're always full. But football not. Why is that?
Let me segment this question for you. With the Bulls and URC in particular, I think you'd find that South African rugby fans are as selective as football fans. They will pick and choose the games that they want, but they'll rock up for the games that matter. If you look at how the Bulls hosted 3 playoffs, they hosted quarterfinal, they had a big crowd, but not a sellout. They hosted a semi-final, the crowd was exponentially bigger. Then it's a final sellout, the game matters. Yeah. Now, the thing with the Boks are double World Cup champions. They are winners. They've got something. They've got a trophy to show for their efforts. They are box office. They are a team everyone wants to watch.
No, 100%. Would you actually say that that's the one thing football should learn from rugby in terms of having to promote these games months in advance before the actual event does start? Because I even look at Sundowns as well. They're quite successful, but they don't look like they can sell out stadiums too, you know?
But you see, they need to learn from that one. I think with club football is different. Club football, Sundowns as an entity, they don't. I don't think they'll ever reach the level of popularity that a Chiefs or a Pirates have, because the success of the support of Pirates and Chiefs, if you think about it, is an inheritance. You inherit the support for a team. if you grow up in a Chiefs household, you are immersed in the brand. I mean, I've got a colleague whose son has yet to see Chiefs win a league, but the kid's a Chiefs supporter because he's inherited that support. So there needs to be an entire base that grows up with the teams and says, so you'd find that a lot of people who have grown up with Sundowns' modern success, starting from the 97-98 season, are now adults and are now passing that success story down to their kids, which is why if now you see that there's a very big group of young teenagers who are supporting Sundowns, it would have been that their parents would have grown up in an era where Sundowns were a successful team. And that's what they understand. In the same way, you'd find that a lot of between your 8 to 15, 16-year-olds are big Man City supporters because that's the team that they've seen win. So that demographic changes over the years. It becomes different when you have families who are then either Man United, Liverpool supporters, where you see the support of their team is passed down. And that is where it works so well with Chiefs, because I think Stuart Marcella once explained this to me and said that for the longest time, Sundowns were a regional side, that they've always had a very strong culture of support in the Pretoria area, but not outside Pretoria. And maybe in Gauteng, for example, whereas Chiefs and Pirates, in the heyday of football, used to take their brand around the country. And that's how they were able to build support. And I think people now have options. Another thing that you don't have to be that immersed in the support culture because you've got other options to watch on weekends.
Tell me something. You mentioned that the fixtures are still not out yet, which is very much true. And you're leading on to something. So let me ask the question, because it's rumors at this current moment. Betway Premiership. What does Khanyiso think about that?
Interesting, because there's an a colleague actually asked me about this. Should a Betway step in? They don't happen to SuperSport bets because does not become a conflict of interest.
Yeah, 10 bets as well with those narrows.
Yes, there's a it's going to be interesting to see how this works, because as betting is a difficult, not I would say a difficult industry, but it's kind of frowned upon by conservative elements. We cannot underscore the amount of money that betting is. And if they have a channel to sponsor sport, I mean, I play for Fat Cats. I'm a Fat Cats member. We are partly sponsored by Betway. And we can, and I think at the end of the day, we've also sponsored by PGF. You have to understand that there are certain sectors of society that are making money. And if they are able to put money into sport, then that money then has to be there is put into sport, because if you're looking at the sponsorship at the moment, are there other viable industries that are willing to sponsor soccer at the moment? I don't think so. If you look at the sponsorship across the board in the PSL, you've got Vodacom looking after Chiefs. MTN8, yes, they sponsored the tournament. Are they sponsoring another team? Are there other markets that are willing to put money into football, despite football being probably the most popular sport, bringing the biggest eyes from a TV, the biggest ears from a radio perspective? Clearly, they're not investing in soccer sponsorship. And that's probably something that needs to be researched at an academic level as to why this isn't happening. But at the end of the day, look, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whether if Betway get this particular sponsorship. I mean, they're an established betting brand. I mean, if you look at the success of Betway in the SA20, clearly now remember that cricket has had its betting problem, especially with match fixing, especially in the past. But clearly players are educated about betting and where to bet, how to bet, and just not betting. I mean, we saw the Ivan Toney example. So again, it becomes an issue of self-control. I mean, if you say betting is then a problem in terms of sponsorship, I mean, then you can't turn your nose up at alcohol, because alcohol is also seen to be a societal vice. But it has been part and parcel of sports sponsorship for many a year. So it then becomes what is moral in terms of sponsorship and what is not moral in terms of sponsorship. Because if you come from a religious perspective, for example, and say that alcohol sponsorship in sport is not great and betting sponsorship is not great, but these are industries that are intrinsically linked to sport, if you think about it.
I see. So you'd fully endorse it then?
I know I would. I would. I mean, at the end of the day, also there needs to be another bigger partner. And there's not enough money going around, if we're being honest, to put money into sport and into a financial behemoth like the PSL.
No, 100%. Tell me something, couple of questions left. What have you made of what's going on in Mamelodi Sundowns? Rolani goes out, suddenly Roman Falls is coming in, and then Mangolo might be made the head coach. There's a lot of changes that's happening over there, man. What have you actually made of these changes that they're doing?
It's quite an interesting palace revolution too. But with what has happened with Fleming Burke, if you are the SD and you are making big decisions, if Sundowns don't hit their high notes, he's going to be the one who needs to front up and explain what's happening, because it's going to be very unfair for whoever's a coach to now front up when it's becoming clear now that the SD is in full control of the decisions that affect the playing structure of the club. The changes that Fleming Burke is enforcing are going to be very interesting, because it's effectively subverting what has worked for Sundowns over the past 12 years. 12 years that has been very successful. I mean, the appointment of Roman Falls, I have to say, is very disappointing. It is very disappointing. He is of no reasonable football stock. There isn't anything tangible that is shown that he is worthy of coaching any top flight PSL team in South Africa. There are better talented coaches who could bring better to Sundowns, who could bring better to South African football. It smacks of a Eurocentricity that is problematic. And if you look back at a team like Sundowns in particular, outside of the Paul Dollars a season, Ted Dumitru, and that other coaching stint where Mick Welkamonti and Gordon and I think just Neil Tove, who were co-coaches, Sundowns' biggest successes have been with local coaches. I think Jeff Butler would have been another example. Sundowns' biggest success story has been the success of local coaches with Sundowns. And if you remember that stretch between 2007 and 2012, where a succession of foreign coaches came in, and Sundowns, outside of winning the Nedbank Cup in 2008, and Trotmolot in particular, were a laughing stock throughout. Your Histro Stoichkovs, your Johan Nieskens, despite their pedigrees. It's become clear that particular teams work well with local coaches. Some teams do better with foreign coaches. Sundowns' success this particular period has been down to yes, it was, but the investment in a South African coach, a South African coaching staff, it gave the Sundowns' success a particularly feel-good nature.
Last two questions. Gayton McKenzie, what do you think of your new sports manager and arts and culture?
Look, it's interesting at the moment. I think what we are owed is a sit down with him so he can actually explain what are his plans, what plans does he have in place for sport. I think that's probably the one missing thought at the moment. There's been a lot of social media work that is put in. However, though, we do need to be taken into his confidence in terms of what plans does he have for sports in particular. And until such time, we are then sat down and taken into his confidence in terms of what he has in mind for sport. And I think he has walked into a very busy period where he walked into the start of the international box season. There was a bit of a quiet time with soccer. Then also there's the Olympics, there's the Ishukalukolo Adams now. But I think at some point, once this dies down, he does need to take the sporting fraternity and the sporting media fraternity into confidence in terms of what does he want out of his department, what are his plans for his department for sport, and not just the big sport, but the major sporting codes. What will his relationship be with the federations? Because at the end of the day, the federations are in place to ensure that the mandate of SRSA is met.
Final question that I have is, according to you, Khanyiso, you can answer it however you like. There's no wrong answers. Where is South African football for you right now?
It's tricky. It's tricky because you can never say it's in a good space and in a bad space. Because there are so many, not loopholes per se, it's got so many. South African football's got so many loose ends. It's got so many developmental loose ends. It's got so many professional loose ends. I think at some point, and actually, Uvelile Mnyado actually frequently used his older surname. We actually had a chat and he asked me about what are the developmental structures of rugby, and we compared them with football. And when I explained that South African rugby has a uniform developmental process from under 13 rugby onwards, where there is data tracking, where players are on the database from the age of 13. You'd find with football until such time there is a uniform data track of players from the age of 11 upwards. We are going to have a significant impact because we are always seeing players at a developed stage, flaws in their game that need to be coached out. So a system is only as good as its grassroots. And if we were to judge where football grassroots level is, it's on quicksand. It's a very problematic base because every other year you can get away. There are countries that get away with poor grassroots systems simply because they've got an excellent, like Nigeria has a wide diaspora that allows players to develop elsewhere and come back and play for Nigeria. I think for the West African and the North African nations, okay, I'll put the North African nations aside because countries like Morocco, Algeria, Egypt have got super developmental systems that look after the clubs. But until such time, South African football looks after as a uniform approach to its development from under 9 onwards. South African football is not in great shape because you need to be able to track and coach talent and coach coaches and coach administrators from bottom up. Until such time, we stop looking from a level upwards and go bottom up, where there is a uniform transition of players. And because football is such a popular sport, it is played everywhere, played everywhere in the country. It ideally should be easy. But until such time that there is a uniform structure looking after football, bottom up, South African football is not in a great space because we'll just look at the product of this group and say, yes, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this, done that. But what are we doing at grassroots level to ensure that there isn't a reliance on miracle players literally appearing at under 18 level and then being happy about them, whereas there's so much room to grow players, educate players, and by the time they are actually of international standard, they are actually playing overseas.
I think you hit it on the nail. And hopefully football sort of builds on from that. Okay, so I just want to take this time to say thank you for being a guest. Thank you for giving me the answers that you give me. Very knowledgeable as well, man. And hopefully we will chat again later on in the season.
No, thank you very much, Vinny.
It's time for Bet of the Week. Get ready to win big by placing the right bets on the right games.
Just when we left the Euros and we left Copa America, there's more football that is coming. The Olympics are on the way this week. And the games that I've got on my bet slip, Argentina against Morocco, Argentina straight win. Egypt going up against Dominican Republic. I've gone with Egypt straight win. France against the USA, France to win that one. Canada against New Zealand, Canada to win that one. Spain against Japan, Spain to win that one. Brazil against Nigeria, Brazil to do the most. And France against Colombia, that's the women's. I say France is going to take that one. The odds are 10.19, 10 times the money back. Now, surely you want to win with me. But if you do, don't forget to click on the link below.
Remember to practice responsible betting at betway.co.za.
We've come to the end of the show, and just a few weeks from the season starting. This off-season just went by so quickly. I'm so glad that the football is coming back. But before you do go, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified for future episodes.